We don't always recognize a story by what's loud. Sometimes it announces itself by the way a room settles before anyone speaks. This one did that. It arrived already leaning in a direction no one wanted to name. Anne Callahan's experience matters because the moment that changed her wasn't dramatic on the surface. It was efficient, clean, the kind of decision families make when they think they're being reasonable. What followed was her voice. The envelope was already on the table when I walked in. Thick paper, heavy. Patrick's idea of presentation. "Sit down," he said, not sharp, not angry, like we were about to review a spreadsheet. Maya stayed standing beside me. She always did that when she felt something coming. Patrick folded his hands. Noah got into Columbia. Full acceptance. My mother smiled too quickly. "We're very proud. I know what you're thinking." Patrick continued. "The cost. But this isn't complicated." He glanced at me. "You have that education fund. $240,000. Maya's planning a state school anyway." I felt Maya's shoulder tighten against my arm. "It's just money," my father added, calm, final. "And this is family." There was a pause where everyone waited for me to agree. From where we were standing, the silence wasn't empty. It was loaded, like a choice pretending to be obvious. At Revenge Mosaicum, we noticed how no one asked Anne how that landed. "Maya," I said, keeping my voice steady, "why don't you grab your jacket?" Patrick leaned back. "You're not really saying no." I looked at him. "I am. If this moment is landing somewhere familiar, staying with the story helps it land all the way." The drive home was quiet. Maya watched the road lights pass, one after another, her knee bouncing just enough to notice. "They didn't even ask me," she said, not angry, just flat. "I know." She picked at the seam of her sleeve. "Noah gets accepted, and it's like the whole room tilts toward him. Did you see Mom's face?" She was trying to keep things pleasant. Maya let out a small breath. "Pleasant for who?" I didn't answer. My hands were tight on the wheel. I could still hear Patrick's voice in my head, calm and sure, like he was talking about moving money between accounts instead of moving a future. At the next light, Maya turned to me. "I'm not mad about the school thing. I know you're not. I just don't like how they talk about it. Like mine doesn't count." The light changed. I pulled forward. "They've always done that." I said, "They notice noise. They notice confidence. They don't notice quiet." She nodded once. "So, what happens now?" I thought about the envelope on the table, about how decided it all sounded. Now. I told her. "We go home." She leaned back against the seat. "Okay." At Revenge Mosaicum. We noticed how she said that. No argument. No drama. Just acceptance that something had shifted. The house was dark when we got back. Maya headed for her room, then paused. "Mom." "Yeah, thanks for saying no." I stood there after she closed the door, letting that sentence land where everything else hadn't. Patrick called the next morning while I was pouring coffee. I let it ring once longer than I needed to. "Just so you know," he started, like we were mid-conversation. "Columbia needs confirmation." I leaned against the counter. "Confirmation of what?" "Funding. All 4 years." Papers rustled on his end. "They want proof within 10 days. "That's tight. That's how it works." He replied, "Prestige isn't flexible." I pictured Noah in his blazer, the way everyone clapped before the bill showed up. "And your plan?" A pause. "Not long." Measured. "The education fund. $240,000 gets us through year 1 and secures the rest. That fund isn't yours." "Anne," he said, lowering his voice. "Don't make this emotional." The kettle clicked off behind me. I didn't move. "You already told people." I said. "You already spent it." Another pause. "People expect follow-through." I watched a drop of coffee creep toward the edge of the mug. So do I. At Revenge Mosaicum, we noticed how deadlines get used like leverage, not logistics. Patrick exhaled. Think about Noah. I am. When the call ended, the kitchen felt smaller. 10 days. The word sat there, pretending it was neutral. We sat in the living room this time, Patrick's choice. Softer furniture, fewer edges. Maya took the armchair by the window. She folded her hands in her lap, the way she does when she's trying not to disappear. Patrick stood near the coffee table. Phone face down. Let's keep this simple. My father nodded. That would be best. Patrick paced once, then stopped. Columbia needs financial assurance for 4 years. Not promises, not plans. Proof. My mother adjusted the throw pillow beside her. This is a big moment for Noah. Rachel crossed her legs. He earned it. Patrick looked straight at me. You have the fund. $240,000. It covers the first year clean. Once he's in, the rest falls into place. Falls how? I asked. He gave a small smile. Scholarships, internships, connections, and Maya. Rachel shrugged. Maya's fine. State schools are solid. Maya's fingers tightened. Patrick kept going. This isn't about favoring one kid over another. It's about return. Return on what? I said, investment. He replied. You put resources where they matter most. My father cleared his throat. Anne, you've always been practical. That landed heavier than he meant it to. I'm listening, I said. I just want to be clear. Patrick leaned forward. Maya doesn't need that much money. She's steady. She'll be okay. Maya looked at him then. I don't remember saying that. Rachel laughed softly. Sweetheart, this isn't personal. The room went quiet, not awkward, expectant. At Revenge Mosaicum, we noticed how no one asked Maya to leave. I stood up. You're not asking. You're reallocating. Patrick's jaw set. I'm preventing a loss. Not yours to prevent. My mother reached for my arm. Please don't make this harder. I stepped back. I'm not. Patrick straightened. Then say yes. I can't. I said. And I won't. Maya exhaled slowly, like she'd been holding her breath the entire time. Patrick didn't raise his voice. That was the part he was proud of. You're acting like this is theft, he said, palms open. It's a temporary shift. My father leaned back. Families do this all the time. Someone steps up when it matters. Rachel tilted her head toward Maya. She's not exactly being asked to sacrifice a dream. She's going to be fine. Maya stayed quiet. Her eyes were on the carpet, tracing a loose thread with the toe of her shoe. I felt something tighten in my chest. You keep deciding that for her. Patrick turned to me. Anne, this isn't about feelings. It's about outcomes. Outcomes for who? He sighed, like I was slowing him down. Noah's opportunity is fragile. You know that. Miss the window and it's gone. And Maya's isn't, Rachel said. She's built for stability, like you. That one landed where it meant to. I took a breath. We're done here. Rachel stood. She moved closer than she needed to. Her voice dropped, low and careful. You always hide behind that calm tone, like it makes you better. I felt Maya shift beside me. You raised her to expect nothing. Rachel continued. Don't pretend you're protecting her now. I opened my mouth, then stopped. The room felt very still. Rachel stepped closer. Too close. Say it out loud. Say she deserves the money more. I didn't move. The sound was small, wet, unexpected. For a second. I didn't register it. Then I felt it slide down my cheek, warm and unmistakable. No one spoke. My father looked at the coffee table. My mother stared at her hands. Patrick's face stayed fixed, like he was waiting for the moment to pass. At Revenge Mosaicum, we noticed how quickly quiet turns into consent. Maya made a small sound. Not a sob. More like a breath that broke in the middle. I reached into my bag and pulled out a tissue. I wiped my face slowly. Folded it once. Set it down. That's enough, I said. Patrick finally shifted. Rachel. She shrugged. She needed to hear it. I picked up my bag. We're leaving. Patrick followed us to the door. Anne, don't make a permanent decision over something emotional. I looked at him. This didn't start emotional. Maya slipped her hand into mine as we stepped outside. She held on like she meant it. If staying with this story feels uncomfortable, that's usually where the truth is doing its work. Patrick caught up to us at the bottom of the steps. Anne, he said, breath tight now. You're overreacting. I stopped. Maya stayed close, her shoulder against my arm. This ends tonight, Patrick continued. You transfer the fund. We move on. I turned back toward him. I can't. His mouth twitched. You won't. I can't. I repeated. It's not mine to move. He frowned. Don't play games. I'm not. I reached into my bag and pulled out the folder. The edges were worn from being opened and closed too many times. It's an irrevocable trust. Set up by Grandma Evelyn, independent trustee. I don't have access. I never did. Patrick stared at the papers. That's not funny. My father stepped closer. Anne, it was done years ago, I said. For Maya. Only Maya. Silence stretched. Rachel let out a short laugh that didn't land anywhere. Patrick's face changed. Not anger. Something colder. So you planned this? No, I said. She did. Maya squeezed my hand. Patrick straightened. Then you've made your choice. I have. He stepped back, like the ground had shifted under him. We walked to the car without anyone following. When the door closed, Maya rested her forehead against the window. I'm sorry, she whispered. I started the engine. You don't have to be. The house disappeared in the mirror, and nothing pulled us back. We didn't hear from them after that. Not on holidays. Not on birthdays. The silence was clean, almost organized. Life narrowed. I picked up extra shifts. Night ones. Maya learned the rhythm of reheated dinners and quiet kitchens. She studied at the table while I folded scrubs, the fabric still warm from the dryer. One night she looked up from her laptop. They really meant it, didn't they? I nodded. They usually do. She went back to typing. Keys clicking fast. Steady. That's fine. It wasn't dramatic. Just decided. Some months were tight. I sold the old car and rode the bus for a while. Maya never complained. If anything, she got sharper, more focused, less noise. She said once, it helps. At Revenge Mosaicum, we noticed how resilience doesn't announce itself. It just shows up every day and does the work. Late nights became normal, screens glowing, coffee going cold, whatever they thought they'd taken from us. Something else was getting built in the quiet. Maya stopped asking permission for things around then, not in a dramatic way, just small shifts. She took a part-time job at a lab across town, came home smelling like solder and burnt coffee, left sticky notes on the counter, back late, don't wait up. One night I found her asleep at the table, laptop still open, lines of code on the screen, a cold mug by her hand. Go to bed, I told her. She blinked, rubbed her eyes. One more thing. Weeks stacked into months. Internships came and went. Some didn't call back. One did. I didn't get it, she said once, voice steady. But I know why. Then the call that changed the pace. She stood in the hallway, phone pressed tight to her ear, nodding like she was holding the room together. When it ended, she leaned against the wall. They're offering $750,000. Seed funding. I sat down slowly. It's not a favor, she added. They want the platform. The work got heavier after that. Longer nights, fewer explanations. Then another call, another jump. Years later, she slid a document across the table. The company's going public. Valuations at $1.6 billion. I looked at her. Same calm, same focus. 18%, she said. Mine. Outside. The house was quiet. Inside. Something settled into place. We didn't announce ourselves. We just showed up. The house looked smaller. Same steps. Same door. The paint near the handle was chipped now. My father opened it and stopped. His eyes went past me, landed on Maya, then came back like he needed to check again. You came, he said. Maya nodded. We did. Patrick was in the living room. He stood when he saw us. Not all the way, just enough to show effort. I heard about the company. He offered. You did well. Maya set her bag down. I did. Rachel stayed by the window. She didn't smile. Didn't look away either. Patrick cleared his throat. Things have been tight. Maya waited. I could use some help. He continued. Just to stabilize things. She shook her head once, calm. No. He blinked. After everything. Yes, she said. After everything. My mother reached out, then stopped. Her hand hovered, unsure where it belonged. Maya turned to me. I set up a scholarship fund. At my old state school. For students who don't get picked. I nodded. Patrick's voice dropped. So you'll help strangers, but not us. Maya met his eyes. I fund futures, not systems that already told me I didn't matter. We didn't stay long. On the way out, no one tried to stop us. If you're still here with this story, staying with it a little longer lets the quiet parts finish speaking. The house we live in now is quiet in the mornings. Not empty. Just settled. I wake up without an alarm. Make coffee. Sit at the small table by the window. Maya calls most nights, even when she's traveling. Sometimes we talk about work. Sometimes we don't talk much at all. Once, while I was watering the plants. She said, you know, I don't think about them anymore. I believed her. I think about myself differently now. About how long I stayed calm in rooms that were cutting me down. About how saying no felt like failure at first, then slowly started to feel like air. Anne Callahan doesn't measure her life by who finally noticed. I measure it by what I protected, by the nights we came home and closed the door, by the way my daughter learned to stand without waiting for permission. If this story lingers with you, letting it sit for a moment is sometimes enough. At Revenge Mosaicum, we stayed quiet at the end of this one. Some stories don't need applause. They just need to be heard.